There are so many Omicrons in this game, guys, so why not make a tier list and let's decide which ones are the best. Now, just so you guys know, this is only for Grand Arena. I have not put every Omicron in here, but we are going to go through and we're going to rate, and I'm going to explain why each Omicron deserves the rating I've given it. We're just going to go in order from the screen here, guys. We're not going to do any other specific order. Some of the Omicrons are great and some of them are terrible, and unfortunately I have a lot of the terrible ones, right? So the first one here, guys, is actually 000's special. Now what this is going to be doing is increasing torture from 1 turn to 2 turns, and then if it defeats an enemy, you gain like some offense stacking, right? Honestly, guys, it's kind of mid. There's 2 reasons for this. The first is you're unlikely to defeat anyone with it, so that part is kind of not important. And the second thing is, like, 2-turn torture is nice, but you just don't really need it. It's just kind of a wasted Omicron. So it does go in the F tier. Now the next one is Ben Solo, and this is obscured, guys. And what this one is going to be doing is applying locked healing immunity. I think it's for 5 turns here, guys. And it's pretty, honestly, as far as Omicrons go, it's a pretty good one. I would say this is probably like B tier. It could probably be A tier, but I think B tier is pretty fair here, guys. The only reason why I haven't put it any higher here is because it's not like it's game changing, but at the same time it's kind of like, by the way, guys, it's 4 turns locked healing immunity. It's not game changing, but it is shutting down some counters such as C. It's a nice Omicron to have, but I wouldn't say it's any higher or lower than B tier. Now, guys, the next Omicron here is Malgus, guys, and it is his special Deprive Senses. Now, guys, this one, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of a little bit mixed here. It does true damage if the enemy is shocked. I'm pretty sure that's what it does, guys. And my problem with this Omicron is you just don't really need it. That's kind of my issue. So debuffs inflicted by this ability can't be resisted. Sith Empire and allies give crit chance up, and if the target is already shocked, deal true damage to all enemies, and Darth Malgus gains turn meter. Guys, it's nice, but I just don't know why you would use it. Like, for me, Malgus is a character, like, you want to do the Omicrons for the ship, sure, but when you're someone like me who's a little bit hesitant to apply more than one Omicron, I just wouldn't be applying this one. It goes C tier for me. Now the next one is actually on Aphra here, guys. Now Aphra actually has some pretty good Omicrons. You'll find that for the triple Omicron characters, with the exception of like 1 or 2 characters, you only ever really need 1. This is Aphra's special, Rogue Archaeology, and what it will do is she deals bonus damage to target enemy equal to 50% of her potency, and then on top of that she's inflicting buff immunity, healing immunity, and stagger for 2 turns. It's a very good Omicron. I would put it between A and S tier. I'm gonna put it in A tier for now, guys, but maybe we'll come back and like change it. And the reason for that is this is one of the ones that you will always apply to Aphra. There's 2 Omicrons, and normally people choose one of 2 of them, and this is one of the ones people like to apply. Now the next one, guys, we have is Luminara. Guys, I would love to put Luminara in the B or the A tier, but I've just not seen enough of it. I'm gonna put it in C tier, and the reason for this, guys, is I don't believe it's complete trash. I don't believe it's complete garbage. I don't believe you should never apply it. But I do think you have to have a lot of investment to see this Omicron work, and that's my issue with it. So what this one's going to be doing is it's going to make the characters who have heal over time from this ability, and they are going to have 100% critical avoidance, and they're going to be able to be critted. They also can't have their turn meter reduced. It sounds like a very small change, but it does make a big impact on many teams. But the problem is I've just not seen enough gameplay to suggest it should be any higher than C tier. It's one of those Omicrons that one day I'm going to be doing myself, and when I eventually do, we'll see what happens. But right now, C tier is pretty fair there. Right, guys, so the next Omicron on the list is actually Starkiller's special here, guys, and it is the Boundless Force Throw. Now, what this will be doing is inflicting the buff immunity and all of that fun stuff, but it just makes it locked. I mean, I'm gonna put it, guys. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I was tempted to go F. I don't think it's a very good Omicron, but there is one use, guys. In 3 versus 3, you can use Wampa to pretty successfully solo Mara J, Palpatine, Starkiller. But if you have this Omicron, Wampa will never work, because Wampa's always going to have the buff immunity, healing immunity, all of that fun stuff, because it's locked. But outside of that, honestly, it's not that great in Omicron. Then we have his Force Repulse. This is an AoE Dispel. This one goes in the B tier, guys. It's a good one to have. The only reason it's not in A tier, for me, A tier and S tier Omicrons are ones that everyone should absolutely have. I feel like as soon as you go down to B tier, you're going into the tier where it's very, very strong, but these are still luxury Omicrons. These aren't ones you have to perform. Force Repulse is good. It helps with certain Ray lineups, but also you can kind of beat them anyway. So B tier it is. And then we have the first of Malakos, guys, and this one is his Die Whelp. Now, guys, if you're wondering what this Omicron does, I will tell you now. So Die Whelp, in Grand Arena, deal additional true damage to all enemies, inflict buff immunity and healing immunity for target enemy on 2 turns, which can't be resisted. And if the ally and leader slot is Dark Side or Unaligned Force user, Malakos gains crit damage and offense stacking. It's pretty good. I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna go B tier for now, guys, because I don't think it's the best of his Omicrons, but it's a good Omicron. Like these ones, these are great Omicrons. These are ones that are average, and then this one's is just terrible. So this is where I put it. It's not bad. It's offense stacking. It's like lots of crit damage and all of that. Pretty good Omicron. Now next we have Reva, guys. And this is her Reckless Sweep. Now what this one's going to be doing is she's going to be reducing Inquisitor cooldowns, right? So whenever she uses this ability in Grand Arena, all Inquisitors gain crit damage up for 2 turns and have their cooldowns reduced by 1. I'm going to be real, guys, I'm a little bit inclined to go higher nowadays, and the reason being Reva's currently very commonly seen with Lord Vader, which means her lead, her best Omicron, which you guys are going to see, kind of becomes minute because you can't use her lead if she's not in the lead. So I can see maybe with the meta shifting, ones like this could come up to say A tier, because that crit damage up is really nice, and the cooldown decrease is really nice as well, because it could be the difference between GI getting off his hill or not, or even 7th. Because there's a lot of cooldown reduction on that team. But right now, C tier it is. Now the next one on the list is another Reva one here, guys, and I think this is her lead. Where is Reva? This should be her lead. Yeah, it's her lead, guys. So this one, it is in S tier, guys. I do still think this is an S tier. I think this is one of the must-have Omicrons. Now, this may change in a couple of months when I review this list. It may be down here. And the reason for this, guys, is whilst the Omicron is amazing, again, if you're not using her in the lead, what's the point? But for the majority of us here, the majority of us unlocking Reva, it is an S tier Omicron for sure. What it's going to be doing is when the enemy basically cleanses themselves on their turn, that's very important, they're going to be purging themselves, they're going to be death marking themselves, and it just makes a lot of counters super easy. It makes Reva an offensive god. Very, very strong character, very, very strong Omicron. Now we have 3 of exactly the same Omicron, so this is going to be really confusing, guys. So you're going to have to give me a couple of seconds to work out which one's which, right? Right, the first one is a Surge. Now, this one, I know there's lots of mixed opinions. It could easily be C tier. It could easily be A tier. Guys, I'm going to be real here. I'm not really too sure where I put it. I think it deserves C tier. I think there's an argument to put it in B tier because it is a very strong Omicron, but it's just, how strong really is it? Because I feel like Merrin's doing the heavy lifting. What this Omicron is doing is whenever someone dies or revives, you're gaining protection back. You're also going to be gaining some additional stats, and some turn meter as well, which I shouldn't forget about here, guys. It's not a bad Omicron by any means. So you're going to be gaining 30% max health, potency, and tenacity. When an ally or enemy is defeated, Night Sisters gain 10% turn meter, recover 25% protection, and the cooldown of her abilities reset. When she uses Endless Wrath, inflict healing immunity on all turns and reduce their defense and max health. It is very nice. It is very. You know what, guys? B tier. I was going to put it C tier, but it's just, it is nice. It is nice, and it also gives 10% crit damage for each enemy with debuffs, which is also pretty fun. Yeah, let's put it in B tier, guys. Let's put it in B tier. Now, the next one of the little offense ones is Tusken Raider. Guys, I'm going to put this in A tier. I don't care what anyone says. I know that some of you don't like 3v3. But as far as Grand Arena Omicrons go, this is one of the best ones in the game. This is going to be giving you one of the best teams in the game in the Tusken Chieftain, Tusken Warrior, Tusken Raider team in 3v3. And for that reason, it's there, guys. It's fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. I know this 3v3. I know some of you don't like that, but it is going to be here. What it does is it summons another Tusken Raider who taunts, and that Tusken Raider cannot die while there's another one active. It's really, really good. Right. So the next one here is another offense one. Guys, why do they all have to be offense? It's Rose Tico. Okay, guys. So there is an argument for either C or B tier here, guys. I don't think it's an A tier Omicron. I do think it's B tier, but I'm going to put it in C tier. And that's not because I think this is bad, but the reason I'm saying this, guys, is because the one weakness of Rose's Omicron is it really needs Zori's to work. And as someone who's a bit stingy of Omicrons, yes, I know I almost have like 38 of them or something crazy like that, but I don't like applying 2 or 3 on the same team, and I don't like applying 2 or 3 on the same character, personally. I prefer to apply them to different characters so more teams get benefits. That's my only drawback. I have this Omicron. I think it's amazing, guys. The only reason it's in C tier is because it's kind of dependent on Zori's Omicron. Now, what it's doing is whenever you, in Grand Arena, all resistance allies gain 10% offense for each exposed enemy, and they gain 5% turn meter for each critical hit. It's nice. It's really nice, but Zori's one should be first. Then you do this one, and that's the only reason it's in C tier. Right, guys, so the next one is Traya, guys. Traya is S tier. No question about it. I would even argue Traya is like top 2 or 3 Omicrons in the game. What it's going to be doing is giving you a cooldown reduction. Now, that's the thing everyone always talks about. Oh, it's the cooldown reduction. It's Nihilus doing his Annihilate and having fun. The second you go below 90% health, you're going to be getting all cooldowns reduced. But here's the thing, guys. That's not even the strongest part of this Omicron. You're gaining 40% crit damage. You're gaining offense. You're gaining max health. You're gaining protection up, stacking, bonus protection. And on top of that, you're going to be adding on more crit damage. It is such a good Omicron. It's such a good Omicron. There's no question about it. Okay, guys, so the next one is Wampa. Man, Wampa S tier. There is a very, very small argument that Wampa should be made A tier, and the only reason for that is because as the game progresses, you get to the point where people don't set Wampa food teams. But Wampa is S tier, guys, no question about it. I just wanted to open you guys up to the suggestion that it might not be the best Omicron anymore, because there are now teams that don't require Wampa to beat. But for 99% of us out there, Wampa is S tier, no question at all. Right, guys, so the next one on the list is going to be First Order TIE Pilot. Now, this one is a bit of a weird one. I know Scramble Ren watches, and if they do, then they're obviously going to say S tier. But I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm between B, A, and C. I think there's an argument for each of them. It's a good Omicron. It's a good Omicron, but the thing is, it just... when you get to the late game, it's one of those ones that just kind of sits on the bench. But we're going to put it in the B tier, because if you've gone for Kylo Ren first, it's a great Omicron to have. So B tier it is. It's like I said, guys, it's not like it's bad. It's just, I think there's better ones out there. Right, guys, so the next Omicron on the list is actually going to be another crit damage one. Can you believe that, guys? Why do all the Omicrons have to have the exact same image? Because this really annoys me. You've got Krennic, guys. This F tier. Nothing to say about that. Krennic's trash. I don't care what anyone says. Now the next one is Savage S tier. Savage is in the trio of God tier Omicrons here, and what it's going to be doing is basically making Savage taunt, gives him loads of offense stacking, health still stacking, and it allows you just to put him in any team and he just goes God mode. Fantastic Omicron. Now the next one is Zam. I'm actually going to put Zam in the C tier, guys. Now Zam is one that boosts stats, which is fantastic. It is really good. but it's also one that I just think is extremely overrated. Like, you could argue for these, but the thing is, nowadays the characters are modded too well for what she was originally used for. Star killer counters, for example, Magus counters. You just won't outspeed them anymore. It's not going to happen. But I think C tier is pretty reasonable. It's not like it's a terrible Omicron. It's not trash, but it's just not as good as people make it out to be. And again, most of the time when you're using Zam Omicron, the team, she doesn't even make her own team anymore. His Beskar Mando is now taking that. Right, guys, so the next one on the list is Reaver's Unique. And what this is going to be doing is whenever she dies, she revives, obviously. She gains 100% offense, ignores taunt, and her unyielding onslaught, her big hit, is off cooldown. We're going to put it on C tier, guys. Like, again, we may see that when they change the meta, when the meta changes and it catches up in a couple of months and Reaver's seen with Lord Vader even more, maybe both of these go up to B or A tier. But right now, you just don't really need it. The lead is the only one you're going to want. The others are kind of like average, right? They're good, but they're not 100% needed. Now, guys, the next one is actually Malakos, and it is going to be his Echo of the Fallen Order. And what this one is going to be doing is enemies that are defeated can't be revived. This persists even if he's defeated, and the first time another dark side or light side unaligned force user will be reduced to 1% health if Malakos is active, they recover health and protection. This one for me is A tier, guys. I don't know if it's the one I think is the best of Malakos's, which is why it's not S tier, but I do think this is a really, really strong Omicron because it forces you to kill him off first, and that alone can cause enough problems for the team to kind of struggle, for you to struggle against Malakos. I think it's just a great Omicron. Now, the next one is Iden, guys. Now, Iden could be anywhere on this list. We're just going to put them in A tier. I still think Iden's great. I do think they fall off a little bit towards the end game because you actually tend to run them anyway with Imperial Troopers, right? Like the normal Troopers, you can run Iden as the 5th because of the cleanse. You can then use it to beat Lord Vader and teams like that. My issue with Iden is just the end game stuff, but early to mid game is one of the best Omicrons in the game. For that reason, A tier it is. Right, guys, the next one is Merrin. I don't care what anyone says, S tier, guys. Now, Merrin is one of those ones that I put off for a while. I then went and applied it, and I'm going to be real, guys, the most fun I've had in this game in years. Merrin's Omicron is insane, and like I said earlier when we was talking about Sarge's Omicron, it's not like that one was bad, it's just Merrin's is so good. So Merrin is in the A tier. Now, whenever an ally revives or dies or whatever, Merrin takes a bonus turn, and you can basically just infinite TM, infinite loop. I've used my Gear 11 Merrin to beat Star Killers, Dashes, Zori teams, all at Relic. It's amazing, for obvious reasons. Right, we now have Afra's Unique. It's one of those ones that sounds really good, but I just don't think you need. And that's kind of all it is. It's like a droid savior. But Afra already has a revive and all of that fun stuff. I just wouldn't really bother with that. Then we have Ben's S tier. If you have GL Ray, you need this Omicron. Obviously, everyone's just unlocked GL Ray in the last week. I wonder how that happened. But yeah, this is a fantastic Omicron. Nothing else to say about it. Then we have Saw. I really need one for untested. Saw's been out for a while. I do not believe it's trash. I'm going to put it C tier. But this is one of those ones that we may change later on down the line, because I really think there's potential for this. What it's doing is you actually increase cooldowns, you gain more max health, you gain more bonuses. It sounds good on paper, but there's no footage and no application just yet. I'm going to put it here, but I'm hoping one day it's up here. But we're going to put it in a C tier. Guys, you have to understand, F tier is literally just never apply under any circumstance. Everything else is you can still apply it just might not be as good. Right, Chrysantin. I'm going to put this in A tier. I don't think it's an S tier Omicron. I do think it makes a difference. It reduces potency. It makes it so Chrysantin can't be ability blocked, which with the current Datacron sets you can run the Wookiee stun on special, and Chrysanthemum will always stun because he cannot be ability blocked. It also makes him immune to turn meter manipulation. It's just a nice Omicron to have. It's just a nice one to have, guys. I would put that one there. It's underrated for sure. Now, the next one is Leia. I'm going to put Leia in... Man, I'm going to put her in C tier. Just because you kind of need Akbar to use with her, but it's not a bad Omicron. I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit undecided on this one. Then we have Trip. Awful. Don't do it, guys. Don't be like me. Here we go, guys. I found it. Whenever BT1 defeats an enemy, he gains the granted ability Haywire and takes a bonus turn. There we go. That's what I was looking at the wrong unique. That's why. That's kind of my problem here, guys. It's not that you're getting turn meter, because it's nice on Trip, you know. It's nice there. But, like, he's already taken a bonus turn. His offense is already through the roof. I don't apply it. Don't know. Like I said, guys, I don't even know what it does because it's not worth having. Alright, guys, this is going to be a post-edit video, whatever. If you've watched the video up to this point, you're going to see this one has been sitting in C tier. This is Malgus's lead. I just read the wrong one. This is S tier. This is Korriban's, and this is C tier. There we go, guys. Back to the video. Right, we now have Starkiller Unique S tier. Without a question, Starkiller Unique's one of the best in the game. And now we have... this is Tusken Chieftain. Honestly, guys, I'm going to put it F tier. I'm going to put it F tier. I do not think this is worth applying in any shape or form anymore. I have this Omicron. I've enjoyed it. From a fun perspective, it's good. Now, why would I not recommend it? Because you're just going to run the Tusken Raider one. That's it. Guys, don't... Unless you're in a position where you do not have any other Tuskens farmed, which is unlikely, and you happen to have Tusken Chieftain, and you happen to have Tusken Warrior, and you happen to have Boba Fett, Son of Jango at Relic, don't apply this Omicron. Just don't. Just apply Tusken Raider and run that team instead. Just don't apply this one. Right, the next one is Malakos. Now, this is his strength, his power. This is S tier. Right, guys, so the next one is going to be Dash. It is going to be B tier, guys. I like Dash's Omicron. I think it's one of the best in the game. I think if you have Vandor, it's S tier, but a lot of us don't, so it's B tier. There's not really much point in running this without Vandor. Just don't Omicron him. If you don't have Vandor, Chewie up and running. The next one is going to be... Who is this, guys? Why are they always such confusing images? And why does that hurt my brain? So this one is Series A tier. She's very strong. There's an argument for S tier, but S tier is for the elite Omicrons. Series is very strong. A tier is perfectly fine. We then have Zori. Zori is B tier. The thing is, Zori team functions with all of our Omicrons. They just help make it work. Same reason we had Rose earlier. It's not that it's bad. It's just that they function with each other with good synergy, and you kind of need them both, but also you can kind of get away with neither. It's one of those weird ones. Now we have Ben's special. We're going to put this in B tier, guys. I think this is pretty powerful, guys. What it's going to be doing is it allows Ben to ignore protection. That's basically it. And this is really, really strong. B tier it is. Ben is like the only character right now, guys, other than Malakos, that I would ever triple Omicron. I think he's worth every single one of them. And I've just realized I made another mistake with the Omicrons, guys. This one's Zori. So let's switch them around. And this one's Adrad, which I'm going to put in C tier. I don't care what anyone says. I don't think Adrad's needed. I think Adrad's just Adrad, and he'll probably die anyway. I mean, apply it for the fleet. It's one of those ones I didn't actually want to apply myself, but hey, we all have to do ones we don't like. It's not bad, guys. It's not bad, but it's not like it is not the best Omicron in the world. The problem is, it's one of those ones that because profanity exists, everyone has it. So everyone just assumes you need it, but you don't. I always look at the data. I'm always looking at statistics, all of that stuff. You do not need this Omicron. It does kind of help on defense, but also Adrad's very slowly becoming an offensive team anyway. There's no real benefit of running him on defense. There's too many counters nowadays. I just wouldn't worry about it. Right, we have Drogon. Drogon we're going to put in B tier. I think Drogon's very good. I think that it has potential to go up. It's just too early to know. He's still very new. I haven't seen much Leia gameplay yet. B tier it is. Then we have Talon. Talon's is very strong, but we're going to go C tier. it's one of those ones you don't need, but if you apply it, you're going to get a lot of benefit, like a lot of these ones here, guys. But C tier seems pretty reasonable there. Now, the next one we have, of course, we've got 3 speed ones here, guys. So we have Akbar. I'm going to put him in the C tier with Leia. Again, I don't think you really need it, but if you do apply it, you're not going to have a bad time. We then have, who is the other speed one here? It is going to be, where are you? Qui-Gon Jinn, A tier. I do think Qui-Gon Jinn is A tier, guys. It's still an elite level Omicron. It's not S tier. It's not in the level of these ones, but it's definitely up there. And then the last one we have is Chief Chirper. And I'm going to go out there, guys, and put B tier. Now, before you wonder why, it's because if you have Nisa, Ewoks are actually very, very good right now. But you have to have Nisa. If you do not have Nisa, this. But if you do, B tier. I think this is a strong Omicron. Gives you loads of speed, allows Paploo to loop enemies beyond belief, and you can do some really, really fun stuff with this. B tier it is. And that leaves 3 Omicrons, guys. So we have Afra's, is that her lead? I hope that's her lead, otherwise we've made another mistake, guys. It is her lead. Hooray! This is A tier, guys. I actually know Omicrons. So what this is going to be doing is giving critical avoidance, speed, Afra some potency, and then whenever you inflict a debuff, they gain 10% turn meter, and while it needs a debuff, they have minus tenacity. This is one of the ones where I said earlier, guys, you apply one or the other. Most people just do one of them. I've done this one, a special, but you can do the lead and have success there. Guys, we have Hondo. B tier is. Hondo's is very strong, but I don't know, guys. I don't think it's one of those ones you need, but it's one of those ones you benefit from having. I think B tier is pretty fair. And then we have Captain Rex. Again, B tier. Captain Rex is really good. I just don't think it's good enough yet to be an A or to be an S, but B tier is pretty fair. Right, guys, that was a long video. Wow, 30 minutes long. Are you kidding me? Guys, I'm sorry that took so long. Anyways, that is my Grand Arena ranking. Just remember, I did obviously mess up and we had Malgus's lead in the wrong place for a while, but it was just because I got the unique and the lead confused. Hey, it happens, guys. But anyways, my name is Glurmit. If you enjoyed the video, please stick around and maybe subscribe, maybe hit the like button. It does help the channel a bunch. And as always, guys, have a Glurmin day.